Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I know I'm a little late on this. I probably should have had it up last week before the first weekend of the Rouge sale. But I know that this weekend is the second weekend of the Rouge sale, and then after that, everybody else gets to shop. So I thought, you know, better late than never. So 20% is 20%. Some people say it's not enough, that it's not this huge discount. And honestly, coming from someone whose sales tax is almost 10%, it's 9.75%, I get it. Like, I get that that's not very much once you add tax, but it's still better than nothing. So if you are someone that waits until these sales to make the majority of your purchases from Sephora, then these are the things that I would recommend to you. And I'm going to share with y'all not only what I recommend from the Sephora sale, but also the very few things that I got the first weekend for Rouge. So let's just go ahead and get started, because I have a feeling that in true Mandy fashion, this might be a little bit long. So I'm going to start out talking about the few things that I got from the first weekend in Rouge. I didn't want to do a whole separate haul video because honestly, there's like 5 things in here. I did not go hog wild. Just not a lot is interesting me lately. I don't know why, but I'm kind of in a funk. Sorry if my hair ends up being all over the place. I had to turn my fan on. For some reason, it is so hot in this room today. All right, anyways, let's go ahead and get started. I believe I only got 2 makeup items. Yeah, I got 2 makeup items, and then the rest of the stuff could kind of flow into my recommendations. So the first makeup item I got was the Sephora Pro palette in the new nudes. So it's like this. A lot of eyeshadow palettes have not interested me, and honestly, I could have probably gone without this one, but for some reason, I got it. So this is what it looks like if you have not seen it. It did come broken. This Shadow Daisy right here was pretty much in shambles. I had to really press it back in, and then this Sandcastle is broken as well. I don't know whether or not I'm going to bother returning it and exchanging it for another one because it's not really that big of a deal. But as you can see, it is a nice mixture of nudes, considering the name of the palette. But it's, honestly, I've used it one time, so I can't give a full review on it. I like the mattes way more than the shimmers from what I've used, I will say that. But I've just got to play with it a little bit more. I wasn't like, holy cow, this is amazing. But it's the first Sephora Pro palette that I've had. I didn't buy any of the other ones when they first launched them, I think this time last year. So I'm going to have to keep playing with it, but it's not cheap. I mean, it was like $68 before the discount. This I do love, and I'm thinking about, I don't think I'm going to get anything else the second weekend except another color of this. And this is the Lawless Soft Matte Liquid Lipstick. I love the packaging. So it's got this little tab. You pull it out of the plastic cover, and it comes in this little cardboard box. Did I put this in too well? Because I've worn this like 3 times. Oh, y'all. There we go. I got the color Cameron. If you are not surprised, it is a soft pink nude color. I will swatch it for you. I'm not a huge fan. No, let me rephrase this. I'm not a fan at all of matte lips. You will rarely ever see me wear a lipstick, just in general, without a lip gloss on it, and certainly not a matte liquid lipstick. That's the color right there. But I got this with full intentions of topping it with a gloss, and I love topping it with a gloss. It is not, like, it doesn't suck all the moisture out of my skin, or out of my lips, I guess. I'm not putting it on my skin, other than my lips. And it does last so long, even with a gloss on top. So I think I'm going to get George. I think that's another, like, taupey nude color. But if you have any of these in other colors, let me know what your favorites are, because I love it. And Lawless is a clean brand, so honestly, you can't get better for that, because I'm really trying to steer the majority of my purchases in that direction. Now, let's go ahead and start in my recommendations. I'm going to try to go through this pretty fast. I know that if y'all watch me for any length of time, a lot of this is going to be repetitive, which is why I asked whether or not you even wanted to see one of these, because I feel like sometimes it's like, oh my goodness, if you talk about that product one more time, I'm going to punch you through the screen. Like, I understand that because I have my favorites and I talk about them a lot. I'm not a YouTuber that buys every new release. I like to use what I like, so I tend to repeat myself. Sorry about that, but y'all said you wanted this, so I am gonna repeat myself. So the kind of repurchases that I made, which would also lend into my recommendations are, of course, the Shiseido cotton pads. I go through these so much. Again, I've talked about them endlessly. They are well worth the $10 to me, even without the discount. They last me forever. There's 165 pads in here, I think, or is there 185? Yeah, 165. Again, last me forever. I use 3 a day, which some people might say is excessive, but you know, we all have our vices, and I love these cotton pads. All right, this I was upset over because the full size was sold out, but the Sephora waterproof eye makeup remover, I'm going to check, because if they have the full size in stock this weekend, I'm going to be repurchasing that as well. This is the middle size, the 4.2 fluid ounces. My favorite eye makeup remover ever. It's always in my empties videos. Love it, love it. This is a repurchase from a while ago, but I've gone through many of bottles, and I'm really upset because this is broken too. Like, what is up with Sephora lately sending all broken? But see the cap of this? This is the Kiehl's Ultra Facial Toner for all skin types. It is a large 8.4 fluid ounce bottle. It is for all skin types, and it's only $16 before the discount. I always go back to this. Always. I try other toners all the time. I use this at night. I'm going to talk about another one I use in the morning that I recommend, but I always go back to this. So I love the Kiehl's Ultra Facial Toner, and that's all I bought in the sale. I was actually, sorry. I'm just going to get comfortable here with y'all. I was actually very proud of myself for only buying 5 things. I just don't need it, nor do I even want it lately. So anyways, I'm going to talk about my skincare and hair recommendations first, and then we'll go into makeup. Again, I'm going to try to make this fairly quick. I have talked about these obviously before on my channel. If you want more in-depth, you can go to the search bar within my channel and search the product names, and it'll show up videos that I've talked about them in. But as far as hair care, I'll get that out of the way first. The 2 things that I use on my hair besides shampoo are the Living Proof Full Dry Volume Blast. Love it. I just sprayed it in my hair before I started filming this video because I just washed my hair about an hour ago, and that's when it needs the most like boost. I really lack volume. I have very few hairs on my head. They're very thin, and I need all the help I can get. And this has been my favorite one that I've found. So again, Living Proof Full Dry Volume Blast. And my favorite dry shampoo is the Sachawan Stockholm Dry Powder Shampoo. I hope I am pronouncing that correctly. I only wash my hair twice a week because it's so thin. I just don't want to put any kind of extra stress on it. And so around day 2, day 3, I will apply this. It does not leave a white cast in my hair. It smells good, and I feel like it cleans my hair along with getting the oils out and everything else. So it doesn't make it heavy, but it does its job. Those are the 2 hair products that I highly recommend from Sephora and that I repurchase often. Well, I say that. I will repurchase the dry shampoo. This is my first full size. I've repurchased this like 4 times. Okay, skincare. If I'm being completely honest, do not buy a ton of skincare from Sephora. I am a huge Truth Treatment Systems skincare lover, which is a medical grade skincare line, and I'm a huge Beautycounter skincare lover. So I use those the majority, except for what I'm going to talk about here. Now, the other toner that I have mentioned talking about is the Tarte Knockout Tingling Treatment Exfoliate Balance Toner. So this is what I use in the morning. I do use this every single morning. It is an exfoliating toner. It is a 10% acid complex, and it's in a vinegar base. I find that I have no issue using this every morning and also using acids at night 3 or 4 times a week. If you are more sensitive, I would start out using this 1 to 2 times a week and work your way up. But I love this stuff. This is probably the 3rd or 4th bottle that I have repurchased. I honestly probably need to get another one in the sale this weekend just for a backup because I'm halfway through this. It just makes my skin smooth, it makes it bright, and it makes it so ready for makeup. That's why I like to use this in the morning. So the Tarte Knockout Tingling Treatment is a favorite of mine as well. And really the only other skincare that I purchased from Sephora, even though 3 of these things were sent to me, I will say, but I have purchased them separately myself as well, is by Drunk Elephant. So these are the 3 things that were sent to me. But again, I have purchased them separately in the past and probably will in the future as well. This is the TLC Fram Boost Glycolic Night Serum, the Polypeptide Proteiny cream, and then the Virgin Marula Luxury Facial Oil. When they sent this to me, they put in the PR box that they recommended mixing them together as a cocktail. That is what I do. I will rotate this cocktail and my Beautycounter Overnight Resurfacing Peel throughout the week. So I use this twice a week and I use that twice a week. Those are my two acids that I use. Well, I don't want to say the most. It's the two acids I use. And when I use this, again, I like to include these as well. I have gotten to where I don't use the polypeptide cream unless I'm using it in this cocktail, but it's definitely one along with the Virgin Marula facial oil that you could use every night. I even know people that use the glycolic serum every night. Not something I choose to do, but it's definitely doable. Love that combination. It's very moisturizing, but I am a huge acid lover. Love acids. I feel like they do some of the best stuff for my skin, and so I just absolutely do really love that concoction, and they are a cleaner line, so I appreciate that. The one other thing from Drunk Elephant that I highly recommend is the D-Bronzy Anti-Pollution Sunshine Serum. I'm honestly almost out of this. I use half a pump of this a day. Even now that I've lost most of my summer color, I still use it. It says it has antioxidant, protectors in it for the pollution that you come in contact with every day with your skin. I use it more for the color. I just like how it gives me that nice bronze, like glowy finish. I mix it in with my moisturizer and it helps me feel more confident not wearing makeup. So if I've got errands to run and I just don't want to bother putting makeup on, mixing this in with my moisturizer really helps me kind of just feel better about going out. So those are the skincare and hair care products that I would recommend the most from personal experience. Now let's go ahead and jump into the makeup. Let's start out with complexion. I'm going to talk about 4 foundations that I would recommend. One of them I have on today, which I will talk about first. And I feel like this really is redundant because I talked about this in my favorites video, but it's the Josie Maran Vibrancy Foundation. Again, this is the one I have on today. Love this foundation. I love the finish. It is a luminous finish. I do find that it works really well on my normal to sometimes dry skin, but I have heard from oily skin people that it works for them as well. So I would highly recommend trying this out. It's one of my very favorite ones. I went through an entire bottle and decided to repurchase it during the Friends and Family sale last month, and I really have not been able to put it down since. So I have the color Mystical RG30 in that. I just can't recommend that enough. 2, 3 other foundations that I absolutely love that you can purchase at Sephora are the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Foundation. I really like her Light Wonder foundation as well. I have just been reaching for this more often because I feel like it still leaves a natural finish. It's not super matte, but I also feel it mixes the best with her Flawless Filter, which I tend to use as a primer when I use this. So the Flawless Filter with the Light Wonder is a little too dewy for my taste, but the Flawless Filter and this together is wonderful. I always get compliments on my skin when I wear this. It just lays over the skin perfectly. It's more, like I said, of a natural finish. I've heard some people say it's luminous. I don't find that it's luminous on me at all, but I also don't find it's a flat matte. So love this. Lasts all day. All the foundations I'm going to talk about last all day on me. The third one is the Ilia True Skin Serum Foundation. I've done a whole review on this one. Oh, I love it. I had contemplated getting a lighter color in the sale because this is the color SF7 and it's a little dark for me right now unless I am freshly self-tanned. But I'm like, no, Mandy, you got to control yourself. You've got other lighter foundations that you can mix with it. So I didn't decide to, and I'm probably not going to, but I cannot tell you how happy I am to have this one. It's like, you probably can't tell, but I've probably used about that much of it, which knowing how many foundations I have is a true testament to how much I love this because I really do pick it up so often. Love, love that foundation. And that is from a clean beauty brand, which just speaks to my heart. And then this one is probably the most expensive one of the bunch. It is the most expensive one. And it is the Tom Ford Traceless Stick Foundation. Again, I've done a whole review on this. I'm in the color Sable in this foundation like this. I will say this is one of the 2 stick foundations that I have been able to get to work for my skin. I cannot get any of the ones that everybody else loves to work for me. This one and the Westman Atelier Stick Foundation are the 2 that work the best on my skin. Love it. Doesn't have any alcohol or fragrance in it, which are the two huge no-nos for me. It's definitely not a clean brand, but I'm glad that they at least don't have those two things. Like I said, I think I said 6.5 Sable. I do really like this, and I find it very convenient to just stripe on and buff in. So those are the 4 foundations. I have 2 concealers. I'm not going to go through every category, so don't freak out. This isn't going to be a 45-minute video. Maybe. But the 2 concealers that are by far my favorite, and really and truly the 2 that I have been using the most, at least 90% of the time since I got the first one of them, which was at least 3 months ago, are the First Aid Beauty Bendy Avocado Concealer and the Josie Maran Vibrancy Concealer. I do have a whole video on this one. I don't on this one, but I've used it in videos in past. This is the one I have on today. I just kind of wanted a full Josie Maran face. Love this. I have it in the color Light. This one is in the color 3, which is light as well. This has a little bit more coverage than the First Aid Beauty. I'm not one that cares as much about coverage as I do for it to lay nicely and be hydrating under my eyes. I don't want anything to crease. I don't want anything to crack. I don't want anything to look dry, and I don't want it to look cakey. So if I have to sacrifice coverage for that, I'm okay with it. Both of these fit that bill perfectly and really do make my under eyes look even better than they truly are, which I cannot ask for much more in a concealer. So I highly recommend these 2. Okay, I only have one powder to talk about. It's the newest powder that I have in my collection, but again, it's one that I really can't stop using lately. And it's going to be repetitive because I talked about it in my favorites. But it is the Lawless Seal the Deal Loose Setting Powder. I really do love this powder. Again, I have it on today. It's one of my favorite powders to match and pair with the Josie Maran foundation. There's something about it. I do feel like you need to use the setting spray with this because you can look a little ghostly when you first apply it. But if you use like a very light, fluffy brush and a light hand, I think you're going to absolutely love the effects of this powder. I never see it sitting on my face. It looks like skin throughout the day, and it doesn't compromise the finish of my foundation, which is important to me because I love the finish of this foundation so much that I don't want to put a powder that's going to make it look matte, because what's the point of wearing something that has a luminous finish if I'm just going to matte it out? I hope that makes sense. This really is been such a favorite of mine lately. Now, as far as bronzers, blushes, that kind of stuff, I would be absolutely remiss if I did not mention this palette, the Hourglass Unlocked palette. I hope you can still get this. I hope it is not sold out. I would be shocked if it was still available because of how good it is. Today, I have the highlighter from this palette on as well as the bronzer. Oh, I love this palette. I love it so much. When I went out of town for a week in October, I took this palette and a Beautycounter blush. Those are the only powder products as far as highlighters, blushes, and bronzers that I took, and I did not feel like I was missing out at all. And the only other reason that I took a separate blush is because these do tend to be more on the cooler tone side, and I wanted something a little bit warmer tone in case I decided to go that direction with my makeup that day. So because of that, I did not use the blushes today because I did want a little bit something warmer, which I will talk about in just a minute. But overall, you cannot go wrong with this palette unless you are super dark. If you are a super deep complexion, you're not going to have this palette work for you. If you are super fair, I'm talking porcelain, angelic porcelain fair, it may not work. Everybody else in between is probably going to benefit from this palette. I just absolutely love it. I cannot speak enough. But it's $80, so who would not want $16 off of that palette? Now, as far as extra blushes, highlights, and bronzers, I'm only going to talk about 2 more products. As far as bronzer, in the winter months, I like to use more creams. I always hear people talk about wearing creams in the summertime, and I'm like, but why? They're just going to melt off your face. I don't understand that. I prefer to use creams in the winter when my skin is drier, and you don't have as much of a risk of it sliding off your face. Because of that, I have to mention the Hourglass Illume Sheer Color Trio. Please tell me you can get this at Sephora. Let me see. Yes, you can. And it is $62. So, you know, you will definitely... Oh no, it's out of stock. All right, I'm still going to talk about it because I'm hoping it comes back in stock. You will benefit from the 20% off. I can only just pray that it comes back in stock. But I use all 3 of these. I particularly love the bronzer. The bronzer is the perfect shade for me. It is something that just blends itself, and I find that in the winter it is so gorgeous on the skin. The blush and the highlight are also beautiful, but the bronzer is my favorite out of the palette. Really, Hourglass does no wrong for me. The only product I've ever tried from them that I wasn't the huge fan of, well, there were two, the stick foundation and the Caution mascara. Everything else is like, speaks to me. Speaks to my heart. I love it so much. I'm not going to go into the ambient powders. Y'all know my love for those. I'm not going to talk too much about those. The only other blush that I would recommend getting, I feel like I'm sweating, is this one, and it's the one I have on today. It is the Tom Ford blush in Inhibition. It's the only Tom Ford blush that I have. It's really the only one I want, but it's the perfect color. It is, I want to even say it's neutral, but I do tend to pick this up more when I'm wearing a warmer toned eye look or warmer toned lip. I just feel like it looks the best on me, but I do think that it's neutral enough to where if you do have a cool tone look, you can still pull this off. It's so, so pretty. It is a matte blush. It, again, is a powder product that pretty much blends itself, and it's Tom Ford, so it's super expensive. So you're going to want to get your 20% off. I will forever love this blush. I don't really reach for that many blushes lately other than this one that you can get at Sephora, so I had to talk about this. All right, we're coming down to the finish line. I will talk about tools because tools are my absolute favorite. I feel like they make or break a face, and I've really been enjoying Sephora Pro brushes. I know that this is no surprise. People talk about them all the time about how good they are, and they are, and they're not always the cheapest, so it's good to be able to get a discount on them. So these are the three that I have lately found myself using every single day. This is the number 64 Pro Diffuser brush. I use this for foundation, and y'all, it has like, I reach for this more than my IT Cosmetics dual-ended one lately. I love it. I feel like you use half as much product as you normally do. It really does just diffuse so gorgeously over the skin. So that's the number 64. The number 98 Pro Highlight Brush, I absolutely love, but I use this for powder and not highlighting. I love the fact that it's so small and so loose that I can really pinpoint where I want my powder, because as we go into the colder months, I don't want a full face of powder. I want the luminosity, and I want to only set where I absolutely need to. So I have been absolutely loving that. And then the Sephora Pro Shader number 18 is what I use every single day in my inner corner and brow bone to highlight. Doesn't matter if I change products, this is the brush that I used to do that with, and I absolutely love it. Now, as far as eyeshadows go, I'm going to be honest with you. I searched my drawers high and low, and I did not find anything that I just stood out to me and said, oh my goodness, you have to have. Again, eyeshadows have not been speaking to me lately, which is why I'm so surprised I bought that palette. I'm pretty much sticking to the same palettes when I get ready lately, and they can't be bought at Sephora. So I will mention one eyeshadow that I do use almost every single day in conjunction with the number 20 brush for my inner corner and brow bone highlight. And it's the Marc Jacobs Omega Shadow in Primo. So it's right here. I've talked about this in a favorites before, but it's this gorgeous champagne color. When you swatch it heavy, it has a little bit of a pink shift to it, but it's nothing that shows up on the eyes in my opinion. And I love just having a single shadow that I can pop in my travel bag, have on my vanity, and know that no matter what the palette has in it that I'm using on my eyes, I'm going to be able to have an inner corner and brow bone highlight that I know I like. So again, this is Primo. I also have Daddio, I think, or Perfecto, the lighter brown color. But these are $29 each, which is almost a little absurd for a single shadow. So I only recommend buying them when you can get money off. So I would definitely check into that during the sale. I'm almost done. The only other thing I'm going to talk about is perfume. Again, it's going to be a little bit repetitive, but I will say that this is a perfect time, especially around the holidays, to buy sets. And perfume sets are some of my favorite things to buy. This I bought actually last year, and it's the Replica Reproduction of Familiar Scents and Moments of Varying Locations and Periods. It's a set. So anyways, it's got all, I believe it's all of the Replica fragrances, which are a total of 10 in these little vials. Perfect way to test it out because every fragrance will work different on everybody's skin and work differently with their chemical balance, whatever, you know what I mean. So it's a great way to try it out. Now, I will say that there's one little one missing down here, and that's because I've completely finished it and bought the full size. And this is where it's going to be repetitive because it's the Lipstick On from Replica. It's all I've been wearing lately. which is funny because I use like 4 squirts and I've only used that much. Every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. This is probably my favorite fragrance of all time. I love this so much. So it is very expensive. It's $126. So I bought it during the friends and family sale and don't know that I would have paid full price for it regardless of how much I love it, because that's just insane. So get your $24 off, 25 really, and try out a replica fragrance, or at least try out one of the sets, because I think it's a great way to determine which one you're going to like the most. Bless all of y'all who say you love my long videos, because I just cannot film a short one. That's going to wrap it up for my Sephora recommendations. I would love to know what you either already have from the sale that you are loving, or what you plan on buying. Again, I don't plan on buying much. I think I'm going to get another Lawless liquid lipstick color, and then maybe another one of these, other than the 5 things I already got. So I'm really I don't know. I'm in a rut, y'all. I'm in a rut. So help me get out of that rut by telling me what you love the most. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. As always, be sure and like and subscribe before you leave so you don't miss out on any future videos. And I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day.